scream and shout with all your might. Dig in your heels and hold on tight.
I'm quiet because I'm saving it up. That's what's going on.
Either you are wrong or I am right.
As Randy's wondering why I'm being so quiet, normally I would be talking around a minute already. But we're going to get started soon, and thank you very much. Thank you for joining us again here at Stating the Obvious. Brought to you by the Cynical Libertarian Society. I am, of course, your host, Skip Doggy Dog. In the control room, the lovely, the adorable, the charming Randy. Coffee. It's getting a little... it's getting lukewarm. It shall soon achieve room temperature and be useless to me. Like liberals, useless to me. Totally useless. This is the third in the series where I started talking about marriage and monogamy. This was all intended to... Originally this was going to be only one edition of Stating the Obvious. But it snowballed, as these things are wont to do. Oh, thank you, Randy, darling. Today's date is the 1st of May. It's 10:25 in the morning. I'm playing hooky from work. The email address, of course, is sto@204esouth.com. You can feel free to hit me with your responses. Just make sure they're at least semi-intelligent. That will prevent me from making fun of you. Now, what we have here, did I forget anything? Oh yes, and of course the theme song to Stating the Obvious, You Know I'm Right by David Gilmour, off his 1984 solo album About Face. This is what we're going to cover today. This is a copy of the... Oh, and we do have the TV thing, right? Oh, okay, great. We'll get to that later. I'm going to play something for you folks that I recorded off of the television. I very seldom watch television. I happen to turn it on for some reason that I don't actually remember. And I caught this, and it's brilliant. It fits in perfectly with this. Okay. I have here a copy of the Intercollegiate Review, a journal of scholarship and opinion. This is published by Intercollegiate Studies Institute. Do they have a website on here? I'm looking. Anyway, let me talk while I'm looking. This group of people, this magazine is essentially a right-wing... Aha, here we go. Visit our website at www.isi.org. It is a right-wing organization. The Intercollegiate Review goes out free of charge to anybody who subscribes to it. That's how I get it. It gives you some good perspective on what the right wing is trying to do with the college crowd. And it's interesting because for me as a libertarian, it's one of those things that I agree with some of the stuff and I disagree with some of the stuff. This issue, in fact, has another article that I'll be talking about later on, which is brilliant, which in other words means that I agree with it, of course, called Still Bowing to the God That Failed by Lee Edwards, which of course is about communism. That is of course the failed God that many people are still bowing to, communism. But that's not what's important right now. We're 4 minutes into this and I still haven't gotten anywhere. This is by Allan Carlson. The title of this piece in the Intercollegiate Review, by the way, this is volume 40, number 1, the fall-winter from the year 2004, if any of you are trying to access this article for yourself via the internet or anything else. Oh, wait. Allan Carlson is the author of numerous books, including The American Way, Family and Community in the Shaping of America's Identity. An earlier version of this essay was delivered. I cannot talk. An earlier version of this essay was delivered. Did I just say FA? Alright, take 3. An earlier version of this essay was delivered at a lecture at the Family Research Council. Anything entitled the Family Research Council is frightening. The title of this essay, Two becoming one flesh. Marriage as a sexual and economic union. Now, I'd better learn to talk because, well, I'm going to be talking, but I'm also going to be doing a lot of reading. I want to read to you people things from this essay, and then I'm going to respond. Now, remember, all of this is being taken in the context, the larger context of monogamous marriage versus polygamous marriage. But we're looking at this because this article is written in the context of heterosexual marriage versus homosexual marriage. The intent of this essay that I'm going to be reading from is to discredit the ideas of homosexual marriage, discredit the validity and the legitimacy of such. So I'm going to attack it from that angle, but I'm also going to be analyzing this from the angle of polygamy as well. I read. This focus, and I'll try to fill in blanks when I need to, but you guys just have to go with it. Here we go. This focus on social evolution is revealing. It points towards the ideology that drives the same-sex marriage campaign and the deeper conflict of ideas in which we are now engaged. On one hand, there is the view put forth by prominent early anthropologists that marriage is, in essence, an unchanging, universal institution coextensive with humanity. As Edward Westmark explained over a century ago, among the lower savages, as well as the most civilized races of men, we find the family consisting of parents and children, and the father as its protector. Holding this family system together was marriage, combining a regulated sexual relation with economic obligations. While variations in the details could be found in different human cultures, the fundamental marriage bond was unchanging. Now I want to point out, also take a moment here to point out that the reason it may seem at times that I am reading extensively, and I want to remind everybody the reason I read extensively when I do read is because it is not my intention to take things out of context. Anybody can read a single sentence or half of a sentence that somebody else said and easily take that out of context. See, I don't have to take things out of context. Why? Because I am always right. Always. And these idiots, they hang themselves. I don't have to take them out of context in order to make them look bad. So what do we get out of this? Well, marriage is essential, unchanging, universal institution, coextensive with humanity, combining regulated sexual relations and economic obligations. Now we're going to be coming back to all of this, and you keep all this in mind. Let's see, this is blah blah blah, blah blah blah. Or as George Murdoch wrote in his great 1949 anthropological survey, this is great, we haven't advanced since 1949. As he wrote in his great 1949 anthropological survey, quote, "The nuclear family is a universal human societal grouping," unquote. Moreover, quote, "all known human societies have developed specialization and cooperation between the sexes roughly along this biologically determined line of cleavage," unquote. So you see, women, your place in society really is determined by the fact that you have a vagina. That's why you're supposed to stay home, raise the kids, and vacuum. Murdoch concludes, quote, "Marriage exists only when the economic and the sexual are united into one relationship, and this combination only occurs in marriage. Marriage, thus defined, is found in every known human society," unquote. The conservative defense of marriage implicitly appeals to this vision of a necessary and unchanging institution rooted in human nature. Now let's take a look at this necessary and unchanging institution which is rooted in human nature. Marriage is when the economic and the sexual are united in one relation. Now we're going to be coming back to this all through because this is what they come back to, alright? Economic and sexual. And as we're going to find out soon, the purpose of sex, we're going to find out this soon from this essay, the purpose of sex is not pleasure. No. The purpose of sex is to have children. The purpose of marriage is to unite the sexual and the economic interest. Now what's missing from this? Do you see anything about love? Yeah, here have anything I've read so far, has anybody mentioned emotional happiness? Has anybody mentioned love? Has anybody mentioned companionship? No. And as I read from this essay, and if you find this essay yourself online or get this issue, whatever, look, you're not going to find those words in here. There's no concern for the psychological or the emotional health or well-being of the people in this wonderful institution in which all of civilization and humans' very existence relies on. And we're getting there, okay? The only reason we exist is because of marriage. Trust me, I'm getting to this. If it wasn't for marriage, the human species would not even be here. So how dare you fucking homosexuals? How dare you try to destroy the entire human race? Do you not realize that if you faggots got married to each other, humans would cease to exist? How dare you fucking people do this? Are you sick? What is wrong with you? God will smite you down. Alright. I'm getting carried. I'm going to get fired up because this is just bullshit. Okay. Now we blah 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 some more. Now we get to the important way. See, the next thing we have to do is we have to, in this, from the perspective of this essay, we now have to vilify those who are opposed to heterosexual marriage, the homosexual marriage crowd and the polygamist. Now this is brilliant. This is lovely. I'm going to read this to you. Let's do this. I got to figure out where to start. Okay. Let me just tell you this. We are referencing Frederick Engels, co-author of the Communist Manifesto. In his 1884 book, The Origin of Family, Private Property, and the State. Engels makes certain points. Now here I go. I'm going to start reading. Specifically, Engels denies that romantic sexual love could survive in monogamous marriage. And let me interrupt myself and point out that so far, according to what's this idiot's name, Allan Carlson, there is no romantic sexual love in monogamous marriage, because it's all about making babies and making money. Let me go back to reading. Moreover, he claimed that the human urge for primeval group marriage continued even in civilized nations through a turn to prostitutes by men and to adultery by women. Notice, now this is not Engels talking, this is Carlson analyzing. Notice Carlson doesn't say adultery by men and women. See, the men turn to prostitutes. The women commit adultery. Why can't we just say that they both commit adultery? Why is there a different thing for men and anyway, I'll leave that to you to think about. I haven't thought about it and I don't care. Engels also describes how the pending communist revolution would foster an evolutionary or dialectic return to group marriage. He outlined at least 4 steps to be taken by the revolutionary vanguard. Now, for those of you who haven't caught on yet, the point of this part in the essay is to tie homosexual marriage and polygamy to communism. I mean, this is great. And don't any of you little fucking left-wing pinkos out there, don't misunderstand me. I hate communism. I hate communism with a passion. I despise communism. I hate communism. That's why I hate liberals, because liberals are just like communists, except you're stupider. So I am not a friend of communism, okay? But here we go. This is the incredible leap that this idiot is going to take to try to tie homosexual marriage to communism, as if the two possibly have anything to do with each other. Number 1, put all women into outside labor. The emancipation of... let me look at some... Yes, okay. 1 through 4, these are all quotes from the book by Engels, the book, The Origin of Family, Private Property, and State. Okay, so these are quotes. Number 1, put all women into outside labor. Quote, the emancipation of women is primarily dependent on the reintroduction of the whole female sex into public industries. Unquote. Number 2, socialized property. Quote, with the transformation of the means of production into collective property, the monogamous family ceases to be the economic unit of society. The private household changes to a social industry. The care and education of the children becomes a social matter. Unquote. Number 3, institute free love. Quote, Will not this be sufficient cause for a more unconventional intercourse of the sexes and a more lenient public opinion regarding virgin honor and female shame?" Unquote. Number 4, and start with no-fault divorce. Quote, "If marriage founded on love is alone moral, then it follows that marriage is moral only as long as love lasts." Unquote. Now there's so much here, I don't even know where to start. So let me try starting at the beginning. First of all, he claimed that the human urge for primeval group marriage continued even in civilized nations through a turn to prostitutes and adultery. Now, is that really why men go to prostitutes and women commit adultery? Because they have a primeval urge for group marriage? I would submit that more often than not, it's because their sexual or, in many cases, emotional needs are not being met by the person they're married to. But, of course, they can't get out of the marriage because of the moral stigma and because of over here on number 4 where we're being told that, well, I don't want to jump ahead, but over here on number 4 where we're being told that marriage doesn't have anything to do with love. No, that's not what it's about. It doesn't matter if you love the person you're married to. The person you're married to them to make babies and support the babies economically. Love is irrelevant. Number 1, put all women into outside labor. Well, if this is such an evil thing, and if conservatives think that this is part of the communist plot by the homosexuals to destroy civilization, my question would be simply, why don't these conservatives lower everybody's taxes so that they can make more money so that women don't have to go out and work and their husbands can support the families? I mean, this is kind of a no-brainer. The reason women have to go out and work is because the economy sucks, and the reason the economy sucks is because conservatives are spending billions and billions of dollars so that we can kill people in Iraq and make the world safe from terrorism by creating a bunch of people in the Middle East who hate America and will therefore commit more terrorist acts against us, thus requiring the government to take more money and kill more people in other countries in order to protect us from terrorism by creating more people who hate America and will therefore attack America ad nauseum, ad nauseum, ad nauseum. Number 2, socialized property. Well, gee, we know that's not happening in America. This last line is great. The care and education of children becomes a social matter. I don't really see the conservative Christian wing all that opposed to public schools. I mean, our children are already... The care and education of children is already a social matter. We throw our kids in daycare systems as soon as we possibly can. I don't see any conservative Christians trying to shut down daycare centers. I don't see any conservative Christians trying to cut taxes so that men can make enough money so that their wives can stay home and raise the kids. Yeah, conservatives are to some extent the voucher system, blah, 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 but that's just so you can move your kids from one public school to another public school. It's still, I mean, the care and education of children has already become the concern of the government in this country. So again, if the point here on all of these that I'm bringing out is that if these Christian conservative idiots like Carlson actually believe this shit, let's put some money where your mouth is, because everything in this thing that he's trying to use to tie this to communism is stuff that conservative Christians are doing or supporting. Well, okay. Then there's number 3. Institute free love. Now, our objection here is that if we institute free love, there will be a more lenient public opinion regarding virgin honor and female shame. Now, I had to think about this. I had my little notes on this, and I was kind of maybe-ish, but I'm thinking about this more and more. And this ties back to what I've said for a long time about men who fuck a lot of women being called studs and women who fuck a lot of men being called sluts. And as I pointed out, I believe in part 2 of this marriage monogamy thing, how is it that men always want to have a lot of sex before they get married, but they expect their women to be like these pure virginal princesses or something? So if all these men before they get married are running around having sex with women, well, what women do you think they're having sex with? You know, and see that this is the Randy, I'm having a brain cramp. This is the what? This is the way our society thinks in opposing terms. You can either be a virgin and pure and pristine. Or if we institute free love, why, all women are going to go out and be sluts and whores, and they're going to fuck like 27 men every week, because they're just going to be out of control. They're going to have free love. Like many things, I think the validity lies between the two. I don't think we need to be... I think we do need a lenient public opinion regarding virgin honor and female shame. Yeah, I mean, sorry, maybe I'm a fucking sicko, but I don't see a problem with that. Generally speaking, I think we're moving in that direction. I mean, look how, at one time single mothers were fairly vilified, and now they're all over the place. I mean, there still is some negative response toward them, and it's unjustified. I mean, I work with a single mother, and she constantly gets time off from work for every little thing that happens, and I'll be the first to tell you it does get pretty annoying. But it's not like I hate her for this, and it's not like I think she's a whore or a slut or anything else. I just wish, I had a kid so I could get some free time off from work. Number 4, no-fault divorce. Now this is good. I was reading my notes. If marriage founded on love is alone moral, then it follows that marriage is moral only as long as love lasts. Now, our problem here is that we're saying, Carlson is saying that marriage is not founded on love alone. And we're gonna come back to this. In fact, I need to circle this because I'm coming back. Because keep this in mind as we go on. Marriage is not founded on love. And marriage without love is not immoral. Not wrong. Okay, I'm flipping ahead a couple of pages. Do I really have to read all of this? Randy, why did I mark? Let's see. Okay. Alright, here we go. Ernest W. Burgess and Henry J. Locke, in their 1945 book, The Family. There's another one of those titles that's got to scare you. Any book called The Family. Okay, yeah, if it's about like Italian mobsters, I could understand. In their 1945 book, The Family, agreed that as families shed their formal, legal, and economic functions and shrank in size with fewer children, they reorganized around psychological tasks. This new step in social evolution rests on mutual affection and sympathetic understanding and comradeship rather than procreation. The home now focused less on children and more on psychological intimacy and sexual love. Now, what you have to understand, folks, is that from the opinion of Carlson, see, this is a bad thing. We have shifted the emphasis of marriage from making children and supporting those children economically to things like mutual affection and sympathetic understanding and comradeship, onto psychological intimacy and sexual love. This is bad. This is bad to idiots like Allan Carlson, because the purpose of marriage, and this, see here, and for those of you out there who haven't put this together yet, this is obviously why you homosexuals are going to destroy the world if you get married, because you can't make babies and economically support them. Because see, just making babies isn't enough. You gotta support the little fuckers too. You have to engage in economic activity. What? Yes. We skip ahead a little bit. In short, the evolutionary appearance of the diminished companionate marriage, one without economic function and one with the sexual function redefined from procreative to pleasure-seeking, cleared the path for more claims to change and eventually the demands for gay marriage. Indeed, according to one scientist, due to their, quote, this is so sad. I wonder where they found this scientist at. Okay. Indeed, according to one scientist, due to their, quote, playful, creative character, you could say that homosexuals are the pinnacle of human evolution, unquote. And who can deny such superior humans their due? Okay, that quote was pretty funny. But now look, what's important here, see? The evolutionary appearance diminished, one without, diminished companionate marriage, one without economic function. I didn't read that right. I'm going back. In short, the evolutionary appearance of the diminished companionate marriage, one without economic function and one with the sexual function redefined, clear the path for more claims to change and eventually demands for gay marriage. So you see, the fact that the emphasis of marriage has shifted from making babies and having an economic function to having a pleasure-seeking sexual function, a pleasure-seeking emotional function, this is bad. This is bad to these people. You know, there's always been the argument that in Christianity women are essentially for making babies. And I have always somewhat defended Christianity whenever that charge is made. But after reading this article, I can't do that anymore. I mean, in this article, in this essay, he clearly states over and over and over again, and I'm going to read it every time he says it just to beat it into your stupid little fucking thick-ass skulls. He says over and over again, the purpose of women is to make babies. That's what this thing says, over and over and over. And I can't defend the Christian faith against this attack anymore, because clearly they do believe this. So this is why you homosexuals are evil, and why you can't be allowed to get married, because you are part of this movement which is redefining marriage. You're taking away the economic function, and this is interesting too. And he says in here, the companionate marriage, one without economic function. Well, even if you're married to somebody purely to have sex, and because you love them, and you're never going to make any babies, you still have to buy things. You have to buy food and shelter and clothes. It still has an economic function. But you see, according to Carlson, if the economic function is not going towards supporting children, then it's completely inconsequential. Because not only are women only here to create babies, what we're going to find as we read this is the only reason men are here is to economically support the babies. So men, that's your only function. Yet the woman makes the baby, you pay for it. That's Christianity in a nutshell. Let's move to the next section here. And take a brief look ahead. Ooh, God, this is a lot of reading. Holy Toledo. Alright, I might have to break this down. See, it's getting good. We're getting near the end now, because now this is where we bring in, the title of this next section is Faith and Reason. Faith referring, of course, to the Christian Bible, and how the fuck that has anything to do with reason is beyond me. And this guy's going to make some pretty bizarre claims, which I'm going to shoot down like a motherfucking bomber from the sky. Okay. So what shall we make of all this? Traditionalists of a religious bent might suggest turning to Genesis 1 and 2, where they see marriage portrayed as an immutable aspect of God's creation, fixed from the beginning. This is from the Bible. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God he created him, male and female he created them. And God blessed them, and God said to them, "Be fruitful and multiply, and fill the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, over the birds of the air, and over every living thing that moves upon the earth. Therefore a man leaves his father and mother, and cleaves to his wife, and they become one flesh." This brings us back to what I had pointed out before. Here, this idiot Carlson is clearly saying that marriage is something which has been determined by God and set forth as part of a spiritual, religious nature of human beings. And this is going to bring me right back to what I've already said about this. If this is true, if marriage is a religious edict, if it is part of this faith, why are the conservative Christians so intent that the government should be deciding who gets married and who doesn't? If this is what marriage is, shouldn't the church be making the decision about who gets married? And so shouldn't marriage be completely taken out of the realm of the government? The answer, of course, is of course not, because then the Christian right wouldn't be able to use the government to impose laws on homosexuals and polygamists, preventing them from doing what they want to do, and of course reducing everybody's freedom, because Christian conservatives are just like liberals. They want to increase the government of the power. They just want to be sure to increase the government of the power. They want to increase the power of the government. They just want to make damn sure the laws they enforce are the laws they support, not the laws anybody else support. They want to take away the freedoms. They want to take away your freedoms that they don't like. I continue reading. These passages affirm marriage, and remember, all this crap that he's going to come up with is based on that short little paragraph from the Bible that I just read. It's amazing how these people can read so much into so little. Okay, sorry, swig of water. Where are we at on time, Randy? Great, thank you. These passages affirm marriage as both heterosexual, be fruitful and multiply and fill the earth, and economic, the passage regarding subdue and have dominance. It might even be said that the author of Genesis seems to agree with Westmark and Murdoch. See, here we are. This passage affirms marriage as both heterosexual, be fruitful and multiply, and economic, subdue and have dominion. What's missing from this? Emotional happiness? Emotional fulfillment? Trust? Love? Caring? Companionship? All of those things are missing. Affirms marriage as both heterosexual, making babies, and economic, supporting the babies. That's it. That's all marriage is to these people. Make a baby and pay for it. There's nothing about the emotional fulfillment of the people involved. Now this gets fun. What does evolutionary biology teach? Oh, wait! A moment ago, we're quoting from the Bible, and now Carlson is writing, what does evolutionary biology teach? This is great, because the Bible thumper is going to start trying to use evolutionary biology to support his Bible thumping beliefs. Now, I thought creationism was opposed to evolution, but apparently, as you're going to find out as I read this, see, evolution is okay as long as it supports the view of marriage that the Bible thumpers want to put forth. And as I read further, you'll find out that when evolution deviates from what the Bible thumpers want, all of a sudden evolution gets discredited. This is, talk about fishing for the answers you want and ignoring the other things. Alright, let me stop. Let me just let the idiot speak for himself. What does evolutionary biology teach? Far from agreeing with contemporary gay marriage advocates, Darwin actually built his evolutionary theory on the idea of reproductive success. Since homosexuality is, by definition, sterile, and behavior stands at an obvious biological dead end, a generic aberration, Darwin labeled it. I read that sentence wrong. Since homosexuality is, by definition, sterile, the behavior stands as an obvious biological dead end. So, homosexuals should not be allowed to get married, because for homosexuals to marry each other is a biological dead end. Now, I was kind of saving this for the end, but I'm just going to do it right now. We have established that marriage is not about love or companionship or anything else. It's about being fruitful and multiplying and supporting the little multiples. We have also determined that if you cannot reproduce, you are, by definition, sterile and at an obvious biological dead end. The question I want to bring up at this point is, what about women who have passed menopause and can no longer have babies? Should they be allowed to get married? Because under these definitions, they can't have children. They're at a biological dead end. Should women who are no longer capable, or what about young women who, for example, get ovarian cancer or something? Any woman who, it doesn't matter why, any woman who's sterile, should she be allowed to get married? The answer we have from Carlson here is no, because she cannot be fruitful and multiply, and marriage is about being fruitful and multiplying. I return now to the reading. And let's see, I've got a note on this one by this entire paragraph. My note by this paragraph simply says, "Oh, bullshit," with a big exclamation point. So, I'm going to read this, and you guys just keep bullshit in mind while I'm reading. Hold on, I need a swig of water. Here we go. Contemporary evolutionary scientists implicitly agree. Writing in Science, for example, paleoanthropologist C. Owen Lovejoy argues that, quote, "the unique sexual and reproductive behavior of man," unquote, "not growth of the cortex or brain," and notice the quote begins again now. This is because they're taking him out of context. Or this goes back to where I said that I read extensive paragraphs because I'm not taking things out of context, because I don't have to, because I'm always right. See, they're taking short they're taking short phrases from C. Owen Lovejoy, inserting other things between them, and trying. So is he really saying what they want you to think he's saying, or are they twisting his words around? This is why I read the whole paragraph. C. Owen Lovejoy argues that, quote, "the unique sexual and reproductive behavior of man," unquote, "not growth of the cortex or brain," quote, "may be the sine qua non of human origin," unquote. The human nuclear family was not a product of, say, 19th century bourgeois culture or 20th century Levittown. Rather, the paleoanthropological record shows that the pairing off of male and female homoids into something very much like traditional marriage reaches back over 3 million years, to the time when our purported ancestors left the trees on the African savanna and started walking on two legs. Now notice, see, now there are purported ancestors. A minute ago, Darwin was right about evolution, and it supports the opposition. It supports the opposition to gay marriage. Now all of a sudden, these are purported ancestors. And how do they know that something very much like traditional marriage reaches back over 3 million years? How the fuck do they know that? Did they find 3 million year old skeletons with wedding rings on? How the fuck? I'm sorry, I'm all about science and anthropology, and you can study the past, but how in the fuck did you figure that out? I'm serious. No, you can tell me something's 3 million years old, and I can say, okay, yeah, radiocarbon dating, whatever. But how the fuck do you know what kind of, that you can say that they had something like marriage 3 million years ago? This is pushing the limits of any kind of scientific credibility that you can pull out of your ass. I continue reading. As Lovejoy concludes, quote, "both advances in material culture and the here's all the scientific words that I can't say. Shit. I hate when this happens. Yeah. Watch how I edit the word out. Quote, "both advances in material culture and the acceleration in brain development are sequential to," oh, this is great. This is actually are sequential to, i.e. follow after. If you don't know what the word sequential means. Alright, let me start over because I'm having too much fun here. Quote, "both advances in material culture and the acceleration in brain development are sequential to, i.e. follow after, an already established hominid character system, which included intensified parenting and social relationships, monogamous pair bonding, specialized sexual reproductive behavior, and bipedability. This model implies that the nuclear family and human sexual behavior may have their ultimate origin long before the dawn of the Paleocene." Again, how did they know this? I want to know, how did they know that there was monogamous pair bonding? How do they know there was intensified parenting? What the hell is intensified parenting? How do you know that 3 million years ago, humans started having intensified parenting? What is that? That's why I have "oh bullshit" written next to it. What are you talking about? I go back to reading. Other new evidence supports this conclusion. A 2003 paper featured in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Science examines skeletal size dimorphism, that is, the difference in male and female size, in Australopithecus africanus, or something like that. Sorry folks, I can't say these Latin words. A human ancestor said to have lived 3 to 4 million years ago. But wait, according to creationism, never mind. See, this is great. This is a Bible thumper quoting all this scientific research done on ancestors of humans from 4 million years ago, but of course he doesn't actually acknowledge that humans come from apes. So how does anything he's saying here support his belief that remember, his belief is marriage? Oh God, I am so fucking brilliant. You people out there, you have no idea how lucky you are to be hearing me say these things and to guide you towards wisdom and intelligence. All you people should just send me all of your money and then kill yourselves for being stupid enough to have sent me all of your money. What's this fucking idiot's name again? Why, Allan Carlson. Carlson first tells us that marriage was created at the same time men were created by God for the purpose of being fruitful and multiplying. And now he's trying to tell us that marriage existed 4 million years ago among the distant evolutionary relatives of humans. And this is part of his evidence to support the fact that homosexuals shouldn't be allowed to get married. Now wait, did God create Adam and Eve, or did we evolve from monkeys? You can't have both. You can't sit here and use both of these as reasons why homosexuals shouldn't be allowed to get married. Okay, I'm going to go back to reading. 34 million years ago. Among the apes and other mammals, sexual dimorphism is greatest when sexual coupling is random or where one male accumulates numerous females. Dimorphism is least when male and female pair off in monogamous bonds. Overturning earlier assessments, this new study finds that Australopithecus males and females were nearly the same size, no different than men and women today. Really? Now, what planet he's living on? According to the Kent State Research Team, this means that the human ancestor was monogamous, and male and female in permanent pair bond, a social complex including male providing let me start this over. According to the Kent State Research Team, this means that this human ancestor was monogamous with male and female in a permanent pair bond, quote, a social complex including male provisioning driven by female choice, unquote. Again, first of all, I would say, how the hell did they know this? It was 4 million years ago. How did they... Now, this whole thing about the size difference between the male and the female being greatest when sexual coupling is random or when male... among the apes and other mammals. I'm not sure if I buy that scientifically. But aside from that, again, we're talking about things that are 4 million years old, and they're trying to tell us that because of the size of the skeletons, they've decided these people are monogamous. So if a 6'7" man marries a 5' tall woman, and a million years from now somebody digs up their skeletons laying next to each other, I mean, they're going to assume that these people weren't monogamous because their skeletal sizes differ? I mean, this is just silly. You have to keep in mind too that if they're talking about this specific species of homoid that they found, I mean, you have to wonder how many samples, how many skeletons of this species have they actually found? I mean, are they making these comparisons based on 4 or 5 skeletons? And of course, also, how complete were these skeletons? Because remember, for those of you who don't know this, I mean, a lot of this stuff, I mean, for example, some of these dinosaurs we've seen, they find 7 or 8 bones and they reconstruct an entire dinosaur based on 8 bones. And there's a limit, in my opinion, to how much scientific validity you can get from something like that. So you'll notice what's missing here in this piece of information is, who were these scientists? How many skeletons did they work with? How many skeletons of each gender? How complete were these skeletons? Where were these skeletons located at relative to each other? I mean, we're just making things up here to satisfy the desire to end up at the conclusion that allowing faggots to marry each other is going to destroy civilization because they don't procreate. They're getting married. And while I'm defending homosexual marriage, let's get one thing straight. Let's get a couple of things straight, but let's start with this. I've already covered my feelings on the homosexual marriage. Don't get me wrong, I'm aware that most of what's driving the homosexual marriage membership is economics. They want to be able to get health insurance for their homosexual partner from their work or whatever. And you know what? I got no problem with that. I completely agree with, if we have two people over here and they're, say, lesbians, and one of them has a job, the other one stays home, takes care of the house, or, does whatever, the one who has a job should be able to put the other person on her health insurance. If you're a man, you're married to a woman, you can put your woman on the health insurance. Why shouldn't she be able to put her spouse on the health insurance? I got no problem with that. The leadership of the homosexual marriage movement is, of course, in my opinion, mostly driven by hatred for Christianity. And I can understand hatred for Christianity. So that's one of those things, I can see where they're coming from. I'm not sure about all their tactics all the time. So Randy's in the other room attempting to defend her Christian faith. Well, you can't do it, Randy. Yeah, keep talking. It'll give me a chance to drink some more water. Yeah, right. No, I'll destroy your sad arguments in a few minutes. So, I understand where homosexual marriage is coming from. I'm just not an ally of the homosexual marriage movement for the reasons I've already outlined, because we need to get it out of the realm of something the government controls in the first place, and they simply want to put it further into the realm of something the government controls. And also, of course, their rabid terror of polygamy. We are moving, my God, where are we at? Where it's 47.5. Whew. No, I'm not even I've got a long way to go yet. I better get to it. I go back to reading. Let's see, do I have anything? Notes. Oh, I have a lot of notes here. Well, yeah, okay, here we go. Ronald Emerson of Case Western Reserve University, never heard of it, reports in a 2003 issue of the journal Evolutionary Psychology. Again, we're using evolutionary stuff to support this religious belief, that from the very beginning, our distinctly human ancestors showed a unique reproductive strategy where a female exchanged sexual exclusivity for special provisioning by a male. Quote, the sharing of resources from man to woman is a universal, unquote. Immerman reports, from the beginning of the human race, it appears that women choose men not on the basis of physical size, but because of male skills in provisioning and loyalty. That is, women have bonded to men who reliably return to the cave, hut, or split-level tract home with fresh meat or a good paycheck. In this monogamous order, promiscuity stands out as a disease, an evolutionary danger. At the same time, the ethnographic, quote, data suggests an independent man-to-child affiliative bond, which is part of Homo sapiens' biocultural heritage, unquote, one found nowhere in the animal kingdom. Immerman explains this trait as well by evolutionary selection. Besides looking for reliable providers, women were, quote, simultaneously selecting for traits which would forge a social father, a man who would form attachments, bond with his young, and who would be psychologically willing to share resources with those young, unquote. So here we are again. See, it's all about, and this is what I've always said anyway, is that women select men based on how much money they have, and the odds that they're not going to go out and find better women than them. Well, it's true. It's true. Women are always looking for the man with the most money, but also the man who's, women don't want men who are too good looking, because if they're pretty boys, they'll get other women. Women want men who are average or ugly, so they can't have other women, but have a lot of money so they can take care of them. That was my that's my sexist comment for the day. As Randy knows, I always have to have a sexist comment in every edition of Stating the Obvious. So women are, of course, suggesting. Women are selecting their men for their skills in provisioning and their loyalty and their ability to take care of the children. Here we are, right back again. See, as I wrote in my notes here, see, it's about the money. It's all about the money. Now, this was interesting. In this monogamous order, promiscuity stands out as a disease, an evolutionary danger. Well, yeah, to the woman, maybe. Not necessarily to the man. Then, of course, we have the data suggests an independent man-to-child affirmative bond, which is part of Homo sapiens' biocultural heritage, one found nowhere in the animal kingdom. So they're saying that nowhere in the animal kingdom is there a father-to-child bond between the male and the offspring. And that's another one I'm thinking about, and I'm not sure if I buy that one either. I mean, it's worth thinking about. I'm not sure if I buy that. Let me scan ahead here. Now, let me read. It would certainly be going too far, and here we go. I warned you all earlier that we were going to use evolutionary science to support the belief of marriage, blah, 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 handed down from God, Genesis, blah, 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 bullshit, but only up until a point. I read, it would certainly be going too far to say that modern evolutionary theory and Genesis have converged. Significant differences remain over key matters, such as timing. All the same, it would be fair it would be fair to say that the new research guided by evolutionary theory does agree with the author of Genesis that humankind from our very origin as unique creatures on Earth has been defined by heterosexual monogamy involving long-term pair bonding, that is, because some of you out there are too stupid some of you reading this are too stupid to know what long-term pair bonding is. So in parentheses, he's going to explain it to you. Because remember, you're not a Bible-thumping Christian like him, so you must be stupid because you haven't seen the light. Except for you homosexuals, because you're really stupid, because you're all going to get AIDS and die because you're at an evolutionary dead end. And that serves you right because you can't go forth and multiply. Let me go back to the beginning of that sentence. That's a long sentence. But it's a great sentence. I'm loving this. And remember, let's go back. Be psychologically willing to share resources with those young. That's the kind of men that women are looking for. Men willing to pay child support. Men who don't have the money and the lawyer to get out of paying child support. Men who'll pay that child support. All right, let me go back. This is great. I'm just going to read the whole thing. I love this. I love this part. This is beautiful. It would certainly be going too far to say that modern evolutionary theory and Genesis have converged. Why, significant differences remain over key matters, such as timing. All the same, it would be fair to say that the new research guided by evolutionary theory does agree with the author of Genesis that humankind from our very origin as unique creatures on Earth has been defined by heterosexual monogamy involving long-term pair bonding. Parentheses, that is, marriage in a mother-father-child household, close parentheses. And resting on the special linkage of the reproductive and the economic, there they are again, fruitful and multiply, reproductive and economic, where two become one flesh. So the evolution of marriage did occur, but only once. Only once! It only occurred once! This is... Oh my God, I love this! This is so good! So the evolution of marriage did occur, but only once. 3 to 4 million years ago, when, quote, to be human, unquote, came to mean, quote, to be conjugal, unquote. All the other cultural variations surrounding marriage are mere details. Do I need to actually spend time discrediting this bullshit that I just read? What's my note here? Oh, yes. So, I mean, here we go. This man's just admitted that he's taking evolutionary theory and he's looking for what he wants to support his beliefs, and he's ignoring the rest of it. Okay, this is not science. This is not objectivity. This is not intelligence. This is not reason. This is bullshit. Change must therefore be... Wait, I gotta look at this. And again, reproductive economic. I told you people I was gonna beat you over the heads with this shit. I'm gonna do it again. Marriage is about making babies and supporting them. Have you heard? I've been reading from this article. I hope this is online because I'm gonna put a link to this on the thing. Anywhere in this article, have you heard this idiot jackass say anything about the emotional, love, whatever side of marriage? No, not a fucking word. It's all about being fruitful, multiplying, make babies, pay for them. Right, and let me do this. Let me just do this right now. Why is it so important to the church to make babies and pay for them? Now I'm asking you, Randy. Why? I know the answer. I'm going to tell you the answer in a minute. I want to hear your dumbass opinion. That's bullshit. The reason the church views making babies and paying for them so important is because you make more babies, you got more followers. And more followers can give the church more money, because you're supposed to give the church 10%, right? And that's why economic activity and making babies is so important, because the church makes more money. As I've always said, if you want to know the truth, if you want to know what's really important, all you got to do is follow the money trail, because it's all about the money. Change must therefore be understood as the mark of cultural strengthening or weakening around a constant human model. I've got this next part underlined. It must be important. And rather than being the pinnacle of human evolution, And rather than being the pinnacle of evolution, homosexuality and gay marriage emerge as obvious, evolutionary, and cultural. Now get this, it's not just an evolutionary dead end anymore. Now it's cultural. And rather than being the pinnacle of evolution, homosexuality and gay marriage emerge as obvious, evolutionary, and cultural dead ends. Such practices are by definition sterile, and evolutionary theory on its own terms Evolutionary theory on its own terms depends on reproductive success. So it's not just an evolutionary dead end, it's a cultural dead end as well. In the name, I'm reading again, in the name of evolution. Now remember, God created humans and said you're married and multiply fruitful shit. In the name of evolution, the campaign for same-sex marriage openly mocks the religious heritage of Western civilization. It ignores the hard-won lessons of human history. It rejects the results of scientific inquiry, relying instead on sentiment to make its case. In all these ways, the campaign is radical indeed. Just as recklessly, the same campaign will, if successful, also subvert the one trait. Here we go, folks. Buckle your seatbelts. Just as recklessly, the same campaign will, if successful, also subvert the one trait: permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing, which science points to as unique to human nature and vital to human success, even to human existence on Earth. Advocates for change in the nature of marriage are playing with elemental evolutionary fire. Here we go, folks. This is it. If we allow homosexuals to get married, it is going to destroy the human species, I've been wanting for a long time for somebody who is opposed to homosexuals getting married to each other to explain to me how this is going to destroy civilization. I guess this is it. Subvert the one trait, permanent heterosexual pair bonding. Now let's break this down. This is the one trait which is unique to human nature and vital to human success. See, there's nothing else which is unique to humans and vital to our success. And now let me read this again. Don't you people think I'm making this shit up? I want to read this. I'm going to take the middle of the sentence out. This campaign will also subvert the one trait which science points to as unique to human nature and vital to human success, even to human existence on Earth. Now remember, this is a religious thing handed down from God, but science has told us this is unique to humans and it's vital to human success, even to our existence. This is the one trait humans have, unique to us and vital to our success. It's not our intelligence. It's not our creativity. It's not our larger brain to body size ratio. No. You know what? Look, listen. It's not even our soul. If you're religious or your consciousness or your whatever, it's not any of those things. Human success, even the very fact that humans exist on Earth, is all tied to heterosexual pair bonding, focused, permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing. That is the only reason that Homo sapiens sapiens exist. Now, I'm asking those of you out there listening to this, if any of you are buying this bullshit, this is what I want you to do. I want you to go to your neighbor's house. Oh wait, no, you would probably have one. I want you to go to your closet. I want you to take out the shotgun. I want you to load it. Stick the barrel in your mouth, the side of the barrel where the rounds come out. And I want you to pull the trigger. Because if you're buying this bullshit, you're an idiot, and you should not be alive and wasting resources like food and water and oxygen that could be used by somebody who is intelligent compared to you, like, say, for instance, a retarded 2-month-old baby. This is bullshit. Permanent heterosexual pair bonding focused on reproduction and child rearing is not the one unique trait which is vital to our success. This is absolute fucking crapola. That's why I have it underlined and bullshit written next to it. Yes! Randy, you are brilliant. Randy just suggested that I should just scan in the pages from this and put them on the website. That way everybody can see my notes. See, Randy, this is why I keep you around. Because not only are you gorgeous when you bend over, but you are brilliant. That is a great idea. We're going to do that. That is sweet. Okay. Let me look ahead. Where are we at? Oh my God, you're kidding. We're over an hour. This is the longest stating the obvious ever. See, when I get fired, and we haven't even got to the TV thing yet, and we don't have time. It's 11:30. I got to go to lunch with Robin at 12. Now I'm trying to decide if I should just cut it right now and make this. This may end up being a 4-parter. Well, it is. It's going to be a 4-parter. Should I just cut? You know what? Can I do this? No, we're going to tell you what, folks. We're going to cut this short. I'm going to come back to this article. There's going to be a 4th part. Besides, I mean, none of you want to be listening to me talk for an hour and a half. Well, actually, you do. We're going to cut this short. We're going to come back. That'll be part number 4. Randy, cue up the music, and we'll be back soon. I don't know when, but we'll get all this going. We're going to scan those in, too. That's going to kick ass. That's a great idea. See you folks later. I'm going to Hot, where I can eat massive Mongolian buffet munchies and stuff myself and get really fat, even fatter than I am now.